go ahead and title your notes, Greatest Common Factor. So what is greatest common factor? It's literally these three words. So let's just talk about what each of these words means and we'll figure out what greatest common factor is. So greatest means like the largest or the biggest, right? The largest number. Common means shared, right? Like if I have something in common with you, it means we have something that's shared between us or we have something that's the same. And a factor is a number that's being multiplied. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. Okay, go ahead and take your page and just fold it. And you can even kind of draw a line in that fold. We're gonna make an example column and a practice column. Okay, so first example. Let's find the greatest common factor, GCF. Okay, and we're gonna find the GCF of 30 and 18. Okay, so remember I'm looking for the largest number that's being multiplied that they have in common. So for example, I look and I think, okay, what are some factors of 30? Well, 3, 10, 2, 15, these are all factors of 30. And 18, what are some factors of 18? 9, 2, 6, 3, 18, 1, right? So what I need to find is the factor that they have in common that's the greatest. So for example, like a factor like 2, like they both have a factor of 2, and that's a common factor, but it's not the greatest common factor. I'm looking for the largest number that I can multiply and get 30 and 18. Okay, so now for some of you, it may be something that sort of pops into your head, right? But what you can do if it doesn't kind of just pop into your head is you can actually just use what you know about factoring. And if I were to even factor this all the way down, right, I would get, so on 30, I would get 3 times 5 times 2, that's 30. And on 18, I would get 3 times 3 times 2, that's equal to 18. And what you can actually do is just find all the common factors. So for example, there's a 3 over here and a 3 over here. Those are in common. And there's a 2 over here and a 2 over here. Those are in common. Now these are not common. Right? So, but 3 and 2 are common factors, and if I just multiply those together, right? 30 is the same as 6 times 5, and 18 is the same as 6 times 3. But the greatest common factor, the factor that they have in common, is this 6. Okay, the greatest common factor is 6. Okay, and so you might just be able to look at 30 and 18 and sort of see that and think, let's see, what do they have in common? Or you might have to factor out and see, okay, oh look, they have this 3 in common and this 2 in common, and I'm just going to multiply those together. Okay, try it. Go ahead and find the GCF of 10 and 40. Okay, you're going to find the GCF of 10 and 40. So this is the part where you pause the video, give it a shot before you press play again. Okay, if you're working on 10 and 40, what's interesting about this one is the GCF of 10 and 40 is actually 10. Okay, 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 4 is 40. Sometimes the GCF is just the smallest number. Okay, in this case, right, this multiplies by 4 to get this, and so the GCF is 10. Okay, had I factored it out, right, I would have gotten 5 and 2, and then here I would have gotten 2 times 2 times 5 times 2, but I would have had a 5 and a 2 in common. Okay, let's take a look at another example. I'm just going to add on something. What if I want the GCF of 20x cubed and 5x squared? Okay, so first I need to deal with the numbers, right? I'm going to ignore the variables for a second. So if I do this, right, I can factor this. Now you might be able to just look and see, which is great. 5 actually doesn't factor, so 5 just has the factor of 5, and that's it, right? It's just 5 times 1, okay? So 20 is 5 times 2 times 2, or 5 times 4, right, which we know. And this is just 5. So we can already see that they have the 5 in common. So if these were just numbers, the greatest common factor would be 5. If it was just 20 and 5, the greatest common factor would be 5. But now remember, look, they also have, this has x times x times x, and this has x times x. So what else do they have in common? Oh, they have this x and this x. And oh, look, they both have another x as well. Right? Now, do they have this x in common? No, it's not over here. Right? This is a factor of 20x cubed, but it's not a shared factor. It's not a common factor. So what's the greatest common factor here? It's just the common factors multiplied together. So in this case, the greatest common factor is 5x squared. Right? 5x squared times 1 is 5x squared. And 5x squared times 4x is 20x cubed. You try. Find the GCF of 10 n to the 4th and 25 n to the 3rd. Okay? Pause and give it a go before you press play. Okay, let's see how you did, right? So the answer here is, you should have gotten 5 n to the 3rd. If you got that, you can just go ahead and skip my brief explanation here, but that should have been like this, 5 times 2. This was 5 times 5. So for 10, you should have gotten 5, 2, and 4 n's. For 25, 5, 5, and 3 n's. So what do they have in common? Is a 5 and 3 n's.